there was a time when we were told, oh, write down what you want to do when you grow up. And they said, I want to be an international actress. And the teacher was like, so what profession is that? We're just going to put each other on blast like that. We're not even going to introduce each other. Karibu.
What's her name? Anyway, Karibu.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've been waiting for you. So in the house we have Martina Ayoro, and of course I'd have said Martina, but why? Mono upendi Martina, by the way.
Let me just say, first of all, my name is Spanish, and it's also from these Slavic countries. Mm-hmm. So when they pronounce it, it sounds like this is where the name originated from. Mm-hmm. So unless you are Spanish, and you know how to pronounce the R comes out. Yeah,
but it's the same, Martina.
No. Let's just stick to Martina. Let's just stick there.
No, you're an artist.
Yes.
As in, first things first, it shows that you're an artist. If you can see Martina clearly, no, just tell me the name.
Have rings.
Yeah, the ring.
And they have
the
Africa earrings, and just to, keep in touch with what the interview today is about. So I was just like, and I wore my Kit Me Kai t-shirt that I got from my best friend's mom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was just like, today let me represent Africa because, we're going to talk about
Africa
and culture.
And culture.
Yeah, keeping in tune.
Wow. So, who's Martina Ayoro?
Yes, Martina Ayoro is a performing artist and a lover of art. I act professionally, both theatrically and in film. I tell people I sing, but only in performances. So please do not come quote unquote atujasikia ngoma yako. Yeah, hamtaisikia for a minute.
You sing in performances?
In performances, and I dance as well in performances. Mm-hmm. Or somewhere else. To keep it on these other streets and you see me dancing, just know I dance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Other than that, I am also an ocean conservationist through a project I am involved in called Bahari Huru, which is pioneered by Jukwa Arts Production. Mm-hmm. And generally, I am just an extroverted, bubbly girl, and art. And also, I am a student of life in art. Yes.
Ish.
Yeah.
I was is a student in life.
Yeah.
So, when did you know that you can actually act? Because some of us have tried and it didn't go so well.
When did I know? Wow. Okay. I don't know if this was based on knowledge, but I'll say that from a very young age, I was very interested with being just in front of people and just talking.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily going to call that acting, but I definitely did have an interest in acting. I think anyone who was going to school with me from primary to high school knows at some point I was pretty much bound to be an artist. Mm-hmm. Preferably an acting. There was a time when we were told, oh, write down what you want to do when you grow up. And they said, I want to be an international actress. And the teacher was like, so what profession is that?
Bro, we know doctor, we know surgeon.
So
what is international actress?
And I was just like, but I don't know. For me, it's a profession. So, of course, after primary and high school, I did pursue acting. I went to Kenyatta University at first, and I pursued theater and film studies there, and I specialized in acting. And then from there, I changed schools to AFTI, which is Africa Film and TV Talent Training Institute. It's a very long name, where I still pursued acting as well. And after that, I went to the field of acting. So for me, I don't know if it's knowledge or it's born in me, but yeah, acting has been with me throughout.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now that art has been in you, or you have been in art?
Both.
Yeah, I know that art has been in you. From your point of view, what is art really? Describe it to us, because art can be a lot of things, but from your perspective.
I think I'll say art is the magic that we need in our lives, even when we don't really think about it. Like you said, art can really be anything. It can be music to when you're feeling sad and you want to listen to music. It can be watching a movie because you've been following a specific actor or you tuned into a specific series. It can be, I don't know, food art because you love cooking and you have all these crazy ideas that you want to do with food. It can be hair, it can be makeup. I think art is just grand, and it's, like I said, it's the magic that we need that we don't really think about.
Yeah,
so that
like
is
without
for me.
art, we cannot do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be boring. It's really going to be boring if we're just robotic and moving in just one system. If we don't have a break, if we don't have somewhere where we can decompress or distress or not have to think about things. I think apart from us artists, sometimes when we're watching movies and we're out there looking at the movie like ati, hey, sasa hapa angefanya hivi, amehata hivi. But I think for other people, you just watch a movie and enjoy it. And you say, ame act vinoma sana, and that's where it ends. So yeah, art is definitely the magic that, you know, we need.
There's this interesting thing I heard an actor say. Now I want to pose it to you, that theater and the film, ile TV, they are two different things. Like, you ukitoka theater when the ingine inakuanga ngumu kidogo ku adjust. I just want to know if that is true.
No, I'll dispute that. I think there's theater and there's film. Those are two different fields. Of course, we do share common similarities in terms of maybe the techniques that we use. It's very dependent on each actor. They decide what technique they want to use. They're method actors. That those who will do Stanislavski, that those who will do Meisner. These are all different techniques. But when it comes to theater and film, decide where you want to be. I know there is the notion of, apparently it has been seen in our industry, that from theater, someone started from theater and then now you moved to film, which I don't think you moved to. I just think you've just changed course to where you've decided to be, or that's where you've just aligned yourself better. But there's a very clear distinction with theater and film. Yeah. I don't think you rise to anywhere, or one is harder than the other. I think each one of them has their own kind of technique that you have to get adjusted to. You know, in film, it's probably a bit subtle because there's the camera. It could come as close to your face, or it can go as far, and the director has time to call cut and everything, and then they go edit. So you guys people have time to know how to adjust to certain things. But in theater, you know, it's rehearsals and then staging. So when you're performing a show, there's no time for a director to cut, close up, you know.
So when you do something that was not in the script, maybe you've rehearsed vizuri sana, but now when you're on stage, you miss a step. What do you do at that moment? Or has it ever occurred to you?
Of course, for sure. You've skipped a line, you've thrown off the person you're with, ametegea a line, amekuangalia mpaka nakupea facial expressions. How call, you know?
Bro, unachoma.
Yeah, but for sure. I mean, what we say is, the show must go on. Because the audience don't know this, so we're not going to show them ati sasa, hey, Martina lihatapo. We can't blunder like that. So I think when it just comes there, you know.
So you act like everything is normal because you're an actor.
You don't act like everything is normal. The show goes on.
The show goes on.
Yeah, that's
no.
Those
But
are our little.
You don't see I was trying to bring some rhyming. You act like something is.
Yeah.
Now you've killed my vibe.
Apologies. Najua ukisema you act and we are acting, then it looks like I'm faking, man.
Yeah, you're acting more. You're doing more of acting.
Hey, this is gonna be a debate. It's gonna be a debate, but yeah, for sure. The show goes on. So those are our little secrets. We can't tell you zote so that now ati ukikuja show wanze kuangalia ni wapi.
Watu wameglare at each other. Yeah, yes, hapo wamemiss line. I'm
not gonna be the one who's going to now remove the secrets. Please, I need to be in this industry. Please, I don't want to be blacklisted here for spilling the beans.
And, we just are into a discussion of the role of art. Or art as a tool of culture preservation. Yeah. But even before we go to culture preservation, in your project as Jukwaa Productions, what are some of the topics that you focused on and saw a great impact? Like people really changed their mindset, or people really understood something that it was, because things can be complex, but I feel like art really makes them understandable or easy to understand. Yeah. So what are some of these projects that you actually worked on and you were like, all right, we didn't even expect that, probably?
So Jukwaa Arts Production, we cut a niche in community theater, whereby we voice pertinent social issues. And because when we talk about pertinent social issues, it's things that affect people from a day-to-day basis, or this is something that has been very ongoing. And sometimes our work is to sensitize, sometimes our work is to advocate, sometimes our work is just to create a platform for people to express themselves. So no judgment here. We're not here to tell you change your ways or don't change your ways. We just want to hear what people have to say, because sometimes people just want to talk. Yeah, we've bottled it up, we've complained for far too long. We complain to each other, we're just complaining on Twitter or something. So sometimes we just want to talk without judgment, without having to hear someone tell you you're wrong or you're right. One of the projects that we did, we have one called Heshimu Jinsia, and this was a project that we did around 18-19 and kind of rolled into COVID, but we couldn't pretty much do a live performance because then we weren't allowed to do like gatherings and stuff like that. Heshimu Jinsia was a project based on respecting women in their workplaces. So women just having the respect, and we did it in the EPZ in Mazeras, and it was a whole so it was community theater. So every time we would go to the EPZ and we'd put up different performances through a process called Magnet Theatre, whereby we create a play that ends in a dilemma, and we open it up to then the public to give their solutions that they see, they think. And it was just to help people to see either themselves or see that this is a problem that needs to be talked about, or maybe this party actually do not appreciate when party A does this, and so, you know,
maybe also party A doesn't know that whatever they do is actually
affecting party B, you know, something like that. So when we do things like Magnet Theatre, the impact is, of course, sometimes it's beyond us. We're creating is definitely to know that people understand that, because art is a mirror, you know, theater is it's a mirror. We're the mirror of the society. So it's like holding up a mirror to someone and saying, okay, now, do you see this the problem, or is it a problem? Because sometimes for some people it's definitely not a problem. It's just like
I don't see a problem.
Yeah, I don't see a problem. I think, you know, so the impact, you can't measure it because sometimes, so for example, sometimes it's a workplace and whereby now by the end of the project, then they tell you, they either see the change or they apply certain things, or even the management decides that, so this probably has been the issue with our workers. So maybe it's us who are supposed to probably put better rules or regulations or create a better workplace for everyone. I think one of our biggest projects, Bahari Huru, has had impact. We started this in 2021. This will be our third year of doing the Bahari Huru Festival. And this is a festival that is advocating or speaking against plastic pollution, and we're speaking for ocean conservation. Just because we live in the coast, and this is a coastal theatre company. Bahari is iko tu hapo manze. We are dependent on it in one way or another, whether it's recreational or whether it's for work or whatever it is. So for sure, the impact once again, there's a place where our first Bahari Huru, we did it in Kikambala, in a beach called Ngoloko Beach. And the fishermen had so many things to tell us that they're like, take it to the government, tell these people, because that's what theater does. It makes people see that, okay, so there is somewhere where I can actually voice, or I can actually speak about these things without being judged, without having to fear that, oh my God, who has had me or who hasn't had me, and you know. So the impact is as great as, and it doesn't just end at that project, it goes beyond, you know. So sometimes we go back to the spaces and they're like, oh yeah, you guys should come back again, because maybe something else has occurred, or maybe they have now been better or something like that. I can speak of Bahari Huru, I can speak of Heshimu Jinsia. We had Police in Vijana, which we did during COVID, and it was about police brutality and the youth, because, you know, there's a bit of rough waters with the police and the youth, because they don't get along. The youth feel like the police are always on their necks. The police feel like the youth do not cooperate with them sometimes. So taking this to spaces, and this ones we took them around. We did that in Kilifi. We did one in Chuda area. We did that. We had one at Maweni in Kongowea. And in each of these spaces, it's people always, and especially with Magnet Theatre, having to put, and it's at a dilemma, is that people have the solutions. So it's not like we tell them what to do. The solutions are with them, and they're able to express themselves as much as they want. I mean, you came for Lisemwa Lolipo that we had at the Little Theatre. That was also Magnet Theatre, but this time we didn't end it at a dilemma. We just ended it, and we opened it up to you guys to tell us what you guys think. And my God, this was about COVID, and you guys could have talked for hours. And man, guys took at the theater like 8. We're thinking, guys, I'm talking kwenda home. But everyone had an opinion about what they felt about the vaccine or the vaccine rumor you heard, or whether you felt like it benefited or didn't benefit you. So the impact is as great as it goes, you know. So sometimes it's physically because we have a physical audience, or sometimes it's just on our social media platforms where we pose a question. And the same goes also for this project, you know. We're doing a project on archiving culture, so we allow people to say that I know about my culture, or I don't know about my culture, or I've heard something about my culture. Some people's just like, maybe I don't identify with my culture. I don't know.
So that brings the question of why culture right now at this time and point? Because I've seen your work and whatever we're going to talk about in a minute. I felt like, okay, fine. Is it because we are modernizing everything right now and we're forgetting things that you guys are trying to remind us? Or what are you trying to tell us as the audience? I feel that was what I asked myself when I started seeing your project in your social media handles.
Okay. So, Chimidzimidzi, I'll start by saying this is a project that is on archiving ancestral memories of the Mijikenda people, and we're mainly focusing on the rituals and ceremonies, and we're archiving this through performances. Why now? Why now? Because one, we applied for a grant and we got it. But also currently, there's a huge move of people wanting to find themselves and seek an identity. A lot of young people are now using their birth names. So, for example, if I am Martina Ayoro Otieno, I choose to now be Ayoro Otieno. And because people are seeking this identity, it's good. It's for sure, it's good. These identities are with us because we've all either been told we've either been told or told, because our cultures, our practices, our rituals, our ceremonies, we either see them, we either hear them, but we don't have somewhere where I can date back. It's not like a museum. Right now, if I want to know about the Portuguese and the Arabs and how they entered the coast, I'll go to Fort Jesus and I will read and I will know. And I can refer even if I get a child right now, I know that they can go to Fort Jesus and read about, this whole history. But where do we read about the history of the Luo? Where do we read about the history of the Mijikenda? Where do we read about the history of as much as we want, apart from what we were taught? You know, what we were taught was very limited. It's like this small. Yeah, and we were taught because of exams. Ushike ukram, uandike kwa karatasi, umakiwe, upite. Ukifail, oops, too bad. But there's so many things that are just being passed down orally, because that's how it's passed down from us. It's your grandma, your mom. Right now, if you want to get married and you want to introduce your man to your family, you're going to ask your mom first, tunaenda aje, ni akuje hivyo ama akuje aje, akuje na watu wake ama
akuje lini, because maybe there's a time,
so and we're not necessarily saying that now modernization is bad, because I mean we can't prevent, even as our parents migrated from Ocha to here, no, our parents
those are our ancestors.
Who are your parents? but for sure, even a lot has happened. Technology, modernization, religion, education, so many things have happened. But if we do not archive these things, if we do not have somewhere we can go back and say, so this is how marriage takes place in our culture. This is how birth happens. This is how naming. Because for me personally, I had to ask my mom, who also had to consult my grandma about Ayoro. Because I don't know why I'm Ayoro. I'm just Ayoro because I know I'm named after someone. So for sure, with this project right now, we're archiving them because it's intangible. It's intangible culture. We don't have anywhere else. And because we're dependent on the living memories,
Yeah.
which is our grandparents,
True.
who are not many. Most of us, it's either one who is alive or some of us don't have at all. And very, very few are privileged to even have great grandparents. You know?
True.
It's even countable.
And now the problem is that even if they are there, after how long do you go and sit down with them?
Even when you sit down with them, how much can they remember? Because it's also
Exactly.
with age. Because they're not. It's not like they have a typewriter that they can just or a YouTube channel they can click on a page and say,
Tell you this is it.
This is it. So that's the reason why we need to archive these things so that I know for sure that my generation, my children's children, if they went and clicked something, now because you have technology, now that I know I can Google and write, if I write Mijikenda, it brings me a whole page. Now we need to know that I know that right now, that through performance, I can even see it live and know, so this is a burial process in, for example, amongst the Giriama or the Rabbi, or this is how they named. And it's not just for the Mijikenda people, it's for everyone. 'Cause, maybe I'm curious. I live in Mombasa. Majority of the people in Mombasa, I mean, right now maybe we're a mix of everyone because everyone has come and everything. But we can gladly say majority of the people in Mombasa are, we have the Swahilis, we have the Mijikenda, we have the Taitas, the very coastal people. And we interact with these people every day. I want to know my neighbor. Like we have a shamba in Rabai. I need to know Hapa Mali. I'm planning to settle eventually for probably, that's my mom's, not mine. Please guys, Jaffi Kapo, but
Amen.
yeah, but but my mom who is settling in Rabai, and that's where she's gonna settle all the days of her life. It's good for her to know that this is a practice for these people. Asipite ya shangae mbona watu wanafanya kitu aseme.
Like, isn't it my what?
Yeah, So, and it's again, like I said, it's not just for the Mijikenda. It's also for you who, if you come watch our play, and if maybe it might, make you curious. For sure, I definitely, I keep telling people, I envy people who can speak our language. I keep looking at people my age who speak Luo so fluently, and I envy them because me, I'm those Luos of Nasikia
lakini
siongea. Yeah, I can ongea, but even my grandma looks at me like,
what is that? Is that low?
Yeah.
Or it's some dialect that you took?
Yeah, it sounds like someone who's lived abroad all my life, and then I come here with, my Luo is where? It's with the Norde, Yeah, so for sure, that's why we need to archive these things. We need to, and it gives us a form of identity as the young generation because they're passing on to us. These things are coming to us. But also so that when these living memories, when our grandparents leave us, they can be rest assured that yes, we know that our rituals, our ceremonies, our culture, our identity, our people will go on. Otherwise, man, if we don't archive these things, we'll have no identity. If we have no identity, we're just a people.
We're just people moving around.
Yeah, we're just people moving around where they came. You'll just name your child apples and pears, and then it's that. It has no meaning to them. They could as well just change their name to any other thing.
Yeah, true. So where is this play? When is it? And tunakuja na nini? Expectations. What kind of expectations should we carry?
All right. So with Chimidzimizi project, we had a pilot project last year, which we stayed at the Little Theatre. And this was, so we realized that there was a depletion of the coconut tree. And we decided that before we even started thinking of how to make this play, we said, let's research. Let's just research about what's causing the coconut tree kupungua. Nini that before ningenunua nazi at a cheaper price, sai nanunua nazi like at 150 shillings, and nazi kadogo, what's really happening? Is it just climate change? Ama there's more to it. So we carried out a research in Rabai, and as we were listening to, what the people were telling us, we realized if this coconut tree goes, the Mijikenda people will have no culture, because around the coconut tree, it's a very central being. in the amongst the Mijikenda, because a lot of things happen around there. So if it's a wedding ceremony, they need kadzama, which is mnazi. When there's a burial, mnazi is needed. When someone is just getting married, there's a special bed being made out of the coconut tree and the barks of the tree and stuff like that. When their foods, half of their foods are prepared using coconut. So there was so much rituals and ceremonies that were revolving around this coconut tree that, you know, we kind of took a different route and we said, okay, we will make a play about the coconut tree, but also just start highlighting the ceremonies that are revolving around this. Because if I want to get married and you tell me that without kadzama you can't get married, then it's not happening. We're just not having a wedding. Or dowry is not going to be paid. And as we all know, for us, African culture, dowry is very key. So with that being said, we did a show, A Pretty Ugly Inheritance. That was last year, which was a pilot. And then, of course, we were fortunate enough to be granted for this project. So now, Chimidzi, Don't Kill Me When I'm Dead is our second play of this project. It will be happening on the 11th of July, which is next week, Tuesday. And it's happening at the Fort Jesus from 6 p.m. It is a free show. Let me just repeat that.
It's a free show.
It is a free show.
So you don't have any reason to remain at home, honestly speaking.
Manze, na paka tumesa, it's on Tuesday, watoka tuambia, what about work? Tukasema tumaikia 6 p.m. Unajua, ukitoka tu kazini, teremka.
Enda for Jesus.
Enda for Jesus. What to expect? Come with an open mind. Like you said, we are not debating. That's not the aim of the project. That's not the aim of the plays that we will be doing. We're not debating against traditional and modernization. It's very okay for you to be a modern person. It's very okay for you to stick to your roots. And we're not trying to say that there's a gap in it. What we're saying is, let's archive it. It's okay for you that maybe you're more religious than you would not be more spiritual or traditional. That's very okay. There are those who believe in herbs. There are those who believe in medicine. Which is very okay. But I think it's very important for people to understand and know. Sisi watu tunasikia na hatuongei. Let's understand. Tujue tu tumetoka wapi. Why do our people do this? Why do our people bury a certain style? Why do our people name a certain way? So that when we are asked, when we have children and they ask us, oh, mommy, why do we do this?
You'll actually have an answer.
You have an answer, and not just because unamjibu, but because you know. But because you know.
And it's also because it's important to tell them that so that they can pass it to.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, all our cultures are beautiful. All of them. I see people going for a ratio and I'm just like, wow, you know?
Yeah.
And then you
like go to a Swahili wedding and you're like okay.
You know, and the Luyas, their circumcision, my God, it's a whole thing. It's a whole event.
Let me tell you something. I had these friends, so we were chilling and then they were like, it's August. So I think August is that time. They were like, lazima niende home. Like, why? Kwani what is that? Kuna circumcision. I'm like, is it that important? Like, I'm always a miss. I'm like, all right.
Exactly, you know. Exactly.
You even feel excited for them for some reason.
Yeah. So can you imagine that the way we treasure these things, even burials, man, say as Luos is a whole event. When someone tells you we cry from Sijui where the gate to where the body is, and I'm sure all other tribes have their own ways of doing it.
True.
Man, it's so beautiful. But hey, if we wake up one day and these things are gone. You know, it's scary because
we have nothing to our name.
We have nothing to even ourselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You'll just... dowry is a whole thing. The whole negotiation of jafikisha, you know,
leteni ngombe,
you know, and even sometimes people telling you tulilipa nusu. Tulilipa nusu, tukafanya harusi. Later on, I think if you've seen their couples, they've been married for 60 years or so, and they tell you sasa tunapeana mahari ya mwisho because dowry never ends.
Yeah, dowry never ends.
Because you're not buying the person, you're not buying the woman.
You're actually creating a connection between the two families.
Exactly, the two families. So we have so much. So expectations that should come with an open mind. Usikuje ukifikiria, will I be transformed? Will I be changed? Nah. This is just for you guys to, you know.
And you never know, maybe you needed that, honestly speaking.
Yeah, so it's for you to learn.
As you said, we never know that we need it.
Exactly, yeah. Yes. So maybe you're coming to learn, maybe you're coming to be entertained. Again, just a reminder that the play is not specifically for Mijikenda. So we're not just saying at Mijikenda speakers. This play is open to everyone. The language that is gonna be used is gonna cut across for everyone. So usikujo say, I'm not Mijikenda, so I won't understand. Trust me, it's a very fun. It's also very funny. So it's not serious. We're not there. Maybe. Nah. It's a very fun play.
Will you be in it?
Unfortunately, I will not be in it, but I will be there.
I
will be there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the cast is stellar. The cast is very stellar. I am excited for them. And ningekuwa rehearsal sahi lakini imebidi nikuje niwaambie mkuje shop kwanza.
Exactly. You'll be there. Where do we find you in your social media handles?
So you can find us at Jukwaa Arts Production on all our social media handles. That's JUKWAA for the arts and then productions. Yeah.
And also at Martina Ayoro.
You will find for me Art is Marty is my Instagram handle. Martina Ayoro on the rest of those social media handles.
There is. Look at threads.
Niliona jana usiku nikasema what is this? So I am yet to sit down. Let me just say I am that old millennial bordering Gen Z human being. So these things that come nazionanga alafu I'm like wow, okay, wow. And then I have to sit with it like a week or better yet I'll just have to consult my younger sister and be like, Gloria ati walisema hii kitu inafanywa aje? Okay, cool. Yeah.
That has been Martina, guys. Make sure that we flock pale for Jesus on the 11th of July, 6 p.m. Hauna for me at Tuesday, I'm so sure. So make sure umefika for Jesus. Hata utaenda waambia watu pia ulikuwa for Jesus, unajua.
Uingie ndani kidogo. Usiseme ati nilienda for Jesus school trip.
Bana. Aibu.
At least sema ulikuja play.
Si mambo nati nilienda for Jesus nikiwa class 2. What is that?
What is that? Doesn't make sense.
Thank you so much, Martina.
You're listening to Blue Radio.